If you spoke to anyone attached to Girona at the start of the season, you probably would have been met with someone that would be happy to end the season without relegation. Yet, on the 27th of September 2023, after 95 years of the existence of the Spanish First Division, there had only ever been 40 teams that had concluded a match day as the table toppers. By the end of that weekend, there were 41. Girona, the best team Catalonia has to offer right now, were looking down on the mighty Atletico Madrid, the incomparable Barcelona, and the ever-gold Real Madrid. "We know this isn't normal," said midfielder Alex Garcia back in September. Despite that, here we are, halfway through the season, and this team are level with Real Madrid at the top and 7 clear of Barcelona. It's truly remarkable, but what it isn't is luck. You don't become the highest scoring team in the division with a highly noticeable and consistent brand of silky football by pure chance. There's a method to all of this madness, a method that includes the Guardiola family, assistance from a highly controversial yet very useful multi-club ownership model, and a set of characters that have already achieved something extraordinary. How? Yo, what is going on everyone? Really hope you're all doing well. I'm Tinashe, welcome back to the channel. I think that before we go ahead and talk about Girona's season so far, we have to take a few seconds to talk about how insane what they're doing right now is, regardless of how the season ends up. The big 3 teams in Spain are Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid. Between these 3 teams, they have 279 top-flight seasons. The mighty Girona have been in the top flight of Spanish football for a cumulative 3 seasons. Also, fun fact, none of these teams have more points than Girona right now, 19 games in. As a matter of fact, as things stand, no team in the top 5 leagues has more points than them. Only Real Madrid and Inter Milan have done enough to match them. Back in 1999, Girona were in the 5th division of Spanish football and barely managed to attract 200 people to a match. As recently as 2007, they were in the 4th division, and I guess as an outsider, it's not exactly surprising that this was the case. Girona is a small city, roughly 100,000 people all in all. You'll find some of the best beaches in all of Europe there, a 2-time William Reed best restaurant in the world with no less than 6 more top 3 finishes since 2011. Portions of King's Landing from Game of Thrones were filmed there thanks to its natural medieval look. All of this is to say that, nope, I've never been, even though I really want to. I will one day. But it's also to say that it shouldn't surprise anyone that football isn't exactly what many would associate with the city of Girona. Basketball was the favored sport in the town for the longest time, and then there's the fact that when you mention Catalonia when referring to football, there's only one team that comes to mind. However, if you laser in and focus on the here and now, you'll see that slowly but surely, things have changed. For the longest time, Girona were a team that were confined to the lower divisions of Spanish football due to inconsistency both on and off the pitch. Frequent lower half finishes, as well as frequent top 4 finishes, were not unusual between about 2008 and 2017. In that time frame, there was a scare with bankruptcy too. In 2013, they had just under 3 million euros in debt, mostly related to unpaid taxes, and were struggling to make ends meet, particularly when it came to player wages. The club looked to be saved when Ricardo Pini, an Argentine lawyer, threw his hat in the ring as a potential majority owner. It was agreed that he would take about an 80% stake in the club, and things were looking positive, until he missed a few payment deadlines and the contract was voided. Luckily, intervention was around the corner. French investment group TVSE stepped in, met all the requirements, and paid the required fees on time. This is where Pep Guardiola's influence and presence starts to really take shape. Yes, your ears aren't deceiving you. Pep Guardiola does share a name with possibly the biggest villain in Premier League history, and that's because they're directly related. Pep is Pep's younger brother. Like brother, football has dominated their lives, but in completely different ways. While Pep Guardiola went on to become a Barcelona superstar, Pep's football career didn't really take off and it was over by the time he was about 21. After that, he moved into becoming a brand manager at Nike for players at Barcelona and the Spanish national team. Ronaldinho and Ronaldo Nazario were amongst his first few clients. Fast forward over 20 years, and he's gone from being a brand manager to becoming one of the most prominent agents in world football. He currently serves as a director for mega agency Sports Entertainment Group. Luis Suarez, Andres Iniesta, Rasmus Højlund, and Cody Gakpo are amongst those his firm represents, and of course his own brother is one of his clients too. Fun fact, he also represents Erik ten Hag, meaning that he represents the managers of both the blue and red sides of Manchester. I'm pretty sure all of you can guess which color he supports more. The green one. Money. Many sources frame him as one of the most powerful men in football today. Initially, he acted as a broker between the previous owners of Girona and TVSE to get the deal across the line to ensure that the club was financially secure. But Guardiola's influence far exceeded that of just a broker. As an executive of the club, he made several decisions, including hiring of the current club president, Míchel, as well as several other executive appointments. All of this led up to 2017, a year where everything turned around for Girona in a lot of ways. Girona were promoted to La Liga for the first time in their history after finishing second in the Segunda Division, after failing to achieve this feat 3 times in the previous 4 years, 2013, 2015, and 2016. This was a huge win, and it was about to get even better. A few short months after being promoted, it was officially announced that Girona had been acquired by the City Football Group. The club was acquired in equal parts by the City Football Group and the Girona Football Group, each of whom held 44.3% of the shares. After some back and forth and a lot of changing of hands, the current share split looks like this: 47% City Football Group, 35% Marcelo Claure, Bolivia's wealthiest man and owner of Club Bolivar, another CFG umbrella team, and 16% to Girona Football Group. As per Girona's own website, the owner and executive director of Girona Football Group is none other than Pere Guardiola. Here's another fun fact. It might come as a surprise to some that Pere's association with City Football Group spans far longer than Pep's association with them. In fact, it's widely believed that CFG and Sheikh Mansour purposefully used their connection with Pere to quote Pep into taking the Man City job. So Pere's been associated with Girona since at the very least about 2015. Shortly after his involvement with the club became official, a lot of players started making their way towards Girona on loan. Where were they coming from, you ask? Manchester City. Man City bought Florian Lejeune from Girona and loaned him back to them. City then bought Ruben Sobrino from another Segunda club and did the same. Chidibere Nwakali and Pablo Mafio, both City Academy products, were also sent to Girona on loan. Angelino, Pablo Mari, Douglas Luiz, and Olarenwaju Kayode were all sent to Girona on loan before the club were even officially part of the City Group. If it isn't glaringly obvious to you by now, there is absolutely no way that a team from the Segunda Division would be able to firstly attract and then secondly afford players of this quality on their own. The idea here is that since they can't do that, why not have a whale buy these players for them? It's kind of like the worst kept secret in all of football when it comes to multi-club ownership right now. Txiki Begiristain, formerly Barcelona's sporting director, and Ferran Soriano, formerly Barcelona's general manager, worked hard to appoint Pep to the Barcelona job in 2008. It was possibly the greatest hire of their careers. As of 2012, both were employed by Manchester City in similar capacities to the roles that they played in Catalonia. Now, they both really wanted to get the gang back together, it seems, and CFG were more than willing to do anything possible to make sure it happened. 5 Premier Leagues and a treble win later, I'd say that their second Pep appointment is now probably the greatest appointment of their careers. Being friends with the Guardiola brothers has worked wonders for them. On a club level, I guess you could say that this is an example of a takeover done right. On the onset of this takeover, a lot of people were wary of what this could mean for Girona going forward, but it seems like they didn't really have all that much to worry about. There was fear that a Red Bull situation might happen. In 2009, Red Bull took over SS Faulbach Kranstadt, a team that was in the 5th division of German football, and completely revamped it. The team is now called RB Leipzig, and 15 years after this revamp, they are 2-time DFB Pokal champions and 2-time Bundesliga runners-up. And everyone hates them for it. They did the same with SV Austria Salzburg. Serial winners with RB Salzburg, yes, but a blatant disregard for the club's rich history. But that's not what happened here. Like Man City, the club has changed its logo. An unwelcome change to some, but nothing major. And apart from that, the biggest change that this club has experienced is one that's incredibly positive. Now they have access to a network like no other. Manchester City are the best football team on the planet. They've been able to accomplish this in 15 years. Takeover in 2008, treble winners in 2023, and all. But I'd argue that they've been in a completely different league on a planning, administrative, and sporting level since way before that. Now, the debate about the source of their funds, the human rights record of the owners, the rule circumvention, all of those things, it's one for another day. Let's just leave that be there. But what I will say in this video is that money isn't everything, and it doesn't always equate to success in this game. Look at Manchester United, look at Chelsea. You need the right people, and you need the right structure. And structure is exactly what CFG have given Girona. We obviously have the capacity to scout those kinds of markets because we are under the City umbrella. Quique Carcel, sporting director of Girona, said this just last year. And he's right. Every big team in world football have the best scouts on the planet at their disposal. How is a team that only got promotion to La Liga for the first time in 2017 supposed to convince players to join them over any of the other 100 or so teams with a bigger and better track record and footprint? The answer is one word: relationships. We've already spoken about the organizational benefits that come with being under the City umbrella, but a great example of the improved pull that Girona now have, thanks to CFG, comes in the form of their current number 16, 19-year-old winger Savio. 5 goals and 5 assists in this current campaign. He's as direct can be. He's fast and he's dangerous. He is currently a Girona player, but he is on loan. His parent club since 2022 is French Ligue 2 side Troyes FC after a €7 million purchase, another team owned by CFG. No less than 26 players have moved from CFG teams to Girona since 2015, almost all of which are above Segunda Division standards and have certainly helped pave the way to the top for Girona. But it's not just the loaning side of things. Their permanent transfers have been very on point too. Great examples of this are Viktor Tsigenkov and Artem Dovbyk, 2 Ukrainian players who have become a potent attacking force in Spain. €5 million and €7 million, a club record transfer fee. Both came in 2023. The two have a combined 23 goal contributions already this season. That's pretty good business. On top of all of this, Girona routinely use Manchester City's state-of-the-art training facilities during pre-seasons. They share marketing and imaging teams. You'd have to imagine that from a long-term perspective, off the pitch, this team is set up for success in ways that are going to make it really hard for other Spanish teams to compete with them. And it kind of looks like Spanish teams are struggling to compete with them on the pitch right now too. Our main mission when we took over was to make a stable fan base buy into our project and turn it into a viable institution. Pep Guardiola once said this to The Athletic: "Despite a few setbacks, such as a relegation in 2019, I'd say they've accomplished this goal pretty well. Children growing up in Girona right now are wearing the local kit. They're not wearing Barcelona kits, which I would say is a massive win. People have heavily emotionally invested into the project, which is in no small part thanks to yet another masterstroke in recruiting by the City Football Group. Miguel Angel Sanchez Munoz, or just Míchel, took charge of Girona in July of 2021, while they were in the 2nd division, and he came with quite the reputation. Over the past 3 years, he had twice secured promotion from the Segunda Division to La Liga with 2 separate clubs, Rayo Vallecano, who are actually his boyhood club from his playing career, and Huesca. He won the league both times, 2018 and 2020. If you haven't already guessed by now, Girona are a very ambitious club. Promotion was the bare minimum that was expected of Míchel when he came in, an expectation that was under jeopardy pretty much straight away. 2 wins in his first 10 games left Girona in 20th place, but he was able to pull things together and get them into the playoffs as the 6th place team. For 2 years in a row, Girona had failed to regain promotion, but Míchel made sure that it wouldn't be 3. Girona were back in La Liga as of 2022. With the way modern football is right now, you probably wouldn't bat an eyelash if Girona fired Míchel for that early showing, but thankfully the team used common sense instead of emotions to decide his fate. All of the advanced metrics showed that the team was doing pretty well, and that they just needed to give him a bit of time and things would come right. His tactics included a high-pressing, aggressive, and quite frankly, brave playing style. He focuses on quick, short passes in the build-up, where every team member is involved, and encourages constant movement. A 3-4-2-1 is usually the formation of choice here. However, a 4-1-4-1 or some sort of variation of a 4-4-2 is not uncommon when overall stability is needed. We'll talk a little bit more on all of this in a bit, but this team is a little unorthodox in that the players attack spaces that you wouldn't usually associate with their role. A centre-back might pop up as a left winger, a right-back might be situated as a left attacking midfielder. Positional play is more of a suggestion here than a requirement. It's the sort of play style that only a team with a high budget or access to high-quality players can achieve. Since regaining promotion, Girona have done nothing but build on these philosophies. What you need is time. Luckily, in Girona, I have had that. This club's expectations at the start of this season was avoiding relegation. I'm not joking. It was the same goal as last season, where they finished 10th with 49 points, halfway into this season, and they've already just about matched that. And I'd imagine that all talk of title pushes is being hushed for the time being, as it should be. He has time. Now, the focus is to build on and off the pitch. And this man, on a personal level, has seemingly done everything that he can to assimilate into Girona's culture, not only on a club level, but on a city level too. Originally a Madrid native, he's learned Catalan from his neighbors. He moved himself into the city center of Girona, leaving his wife and children behind in Madrid. He genuinely seems happy to be there. But here's the thing. When you've tasted the success that Girona have tasted so far this season, I'm pretty sure it's going to be really hard for them to go back to being perpetual relegation candidates. And this is where CFG have earned their money, because they've gone ahead and appointed a manager that is just as ambitious as them, and this is best illustrated through how they actually play. And there may be no better example when talking about this than their historic win against Barcelona in mid-December 23, 4-2 to Girona. To give you an idea of how far apart these teams have been historically, the first time that they played one another in a league competition was 2017, the year they got promoted for the first time. I was just blown away by the passing movements, fluidity, and overall fearlessness that these guys were playing with when going up against the reigning La Liga champions. Barcelona can seek comfort in the fact that they're not currently playing at Camp Nou, so it's not technically a home defeat, but the fact of the matter is that they were utterly outplayed. At times, Girona had 6 or 7 players in Barca's final third, while Barca only had 4 or 5. The bravery and commitment here is not normal, even for the biggest teams in the world. It was astonishing. They were drawing Barcelona players out of position, they were finding space between the lines, they were making quick 1-2s, they were making subtle flicks to each other. I was watching this team do to Barcelona what Barcelona have done to so many other teams over the years. The confidence and attacking commitment in this team was shown in their second goal. Left back Míchel Gutiérrez storms forward and has no less than 7 other Girona players in support, all within Barcelona's half. He ends up not needing any of them as he goes all the way on his own and produces a really good finish. Now, I will say that with how aggressive they are up front, they do have a tendency of conceding. Quite a lot too. Currently, out of teams in the top 10 of La Liga, they have conceded the second most amount of goals. Against Atletico Madrid, they played with the confidence we now know them for too, swift attacking football. But Alvaro Morata helped himself to a hat-trick. Girona's tactics of let's just score more goals surely cannot be a long-term plan. But if it is, they have options. They have a lot of ways of playing ball. They can go direct in open play, where Daley Blind will venture into the midfield from centre-back or left-back and have all the options in the world due to his team's movement. They can go direct in set pieces, where Alex Garcia can deliver an absolute pearl of a set piece, often creating multiple goal-scoring opportunities in a single game, all while being a master holding midfielder. The fullbacks of Jan Couto and Míchel Gutiérrez are sublime in how they stretch the field and join the attack. They push so high up at times, they're not doing much defending, which doesn't really help Girona's case when it comes to the weaknesses at the back. But this seems to be by design. ambition requires risk. Eric Garcia, on loan from Barcelona, is a smooth operator on the ball too. Pair him up with Daley Blind, and you basically have two midfielders handling the ball from deep. Ivan Martin and Yangel Herrera make up the rest of the midfield, as Christian Stuani acts as the captain. Having joined in 2017, he is the longest-serving player at the club, apart from Juanpe, who joined 1 year prior. Football clubs are easy to buy, but it's way tougher to maintain and make them sustainable. In the blink of an eye, this club has become a real contender in Spanish football. Some might see them as a one-hit wonder, which they still might be. They could lose their best players in an instant if they keep improving, which is a definite risk. At the same time though, they've already proven that they can weather that storm. They lost Oriol Romeu, Tati Castellano, Rodrigo Riquelme and Santi Bueno at the start of this year, all extremely important for them last year, yet look where Girona are now. The future is bright. To wrap this one up, I want to take a second to talk about Guardiola. Not Pere this time, Pep. Now, to a lot of people, there seems to be this general consensus that Girona, like a lot of clubs under the City umbrella, are simply just a feeder club for Manchester City, which is a claim that actually doesn't hold that much merit, as most of the traffic seems to be going from Manchester to Catalonia. To date, no player has originated from Girona, or at least that is to say, started at Girona, been signed by Girona, and then shipped off to Manchester City. But with the way things are going right now, you'd have to imagine that that fateful day is coming up pretty soon. Naturally, Savio is a player that a lot of people think will be the first to make the leap. But, interestingly so is Míchel. Pep Guardiola isn't going to be at Man City forever, or at least I personally hope not. Rumors of Mikel Arteta, Roberto De Zerbi have come up. Rumors of other world-class managers have come and gone too. But for the time being, who can, if anyone can, replace this guy? The CFG link is there. Could we be looking at Manchester City's next coach in training? You'd think not, right? But hey, it's a fun little game of speculation to play, isn't it? And there we have it, a detailed look on what is probably the surprise package of the top 5 leagues in the world so far this year. Them and Bayer Leverkusen, I guess, who we did a video on a couple of weeks back. It's probably time for us to do another one. Yeah, let me know what you guys think. That's all for me today. Feel free to subscribe, feel free to follow the socials. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a great day. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.